Chimoko? It says the projector was on, but that's not a big one. I don't know.
Which one? This one? Next
Yes?
carpenter.
Yes. Oh, it's because it's non-active?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I understand.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go on.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. If everyone has enjoyed their coffee and tea, I welcome you all back for the final session of today. And well done, everyone, for staying here so long and still being here. It's with great pleasure that I chair this last session, which continues our demonstration of the training programs that the EMINA project has been involved in. Of course, this morning we already had a presentation by Hamid Reza Jaihani, who was also part of the EMINA training funded by the Iran Heritage Fund. He was supposed to be in this session, actually, but because of Anna Paolini's cancelled flight, we had to swap him earlier. We've already seen a couple of, or three other fantastic presentations from Libya and Tunisia. That I think really demonstrate well how the CPF-funded training programs and the IHF-funded training program has helped to put the Arcadia-funded documentation project into practice on a knowledge transfer level on really a global scale, using the full power of remote sensing and the EMINA database to affect change in heritage protection at a time when natural and human factors really are affecting our heritage on an unprecedented level. And I say global scale because we are involved in a number of training programs really across the MENA region. I've already mentioned Iran, Libya, Tunisia. This session this afternoon will continue with Palestine and Jordan. We should also have had an Egyptian speaker, but he's been rescheduled for the final day of the conference, again for visa reasons, but at least he's coming. And in addition, we're also actually, right at this moment, running another training course in Lebanon, in Beirut, and recently we had a training course in Iraq. And we will also be providing training courses in Yemen to really, start working with an international, global level to protect heritage at this time. That's enough said for me. I would now like to welcome to the floor our first speaker of this session, which is Eman Titi, who is the Director of Antiquities Office in Bethlehem at the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquity in Palestine, who will highlight the effective role of the EMINA database to protect, study, and develop Palestinian heritage sites and eventually protect them. She will be speaking in Arabic, so those of you who need translation, please prepare your headsets. Thank you.
مرحبا للجميع. أول شيء بحب أشكر القائمين على مؤتمر حماية الماضي، والشكر موصول كمان لبرنامج إمينا لجميع المدربين وفريق العمل اللي عمل على تدريبنا في الأشهر الماضية. بداية سأتحدث وسيكون عرض التقديمي عن This is not the first slide. سيكون عن أثر تطوير قاعدة البيانات للمواقع والمباني الفلسطينية من خلال استخدام مشروع إمينا. في البداية أنا أعمل في حماية الآثار، مكتب حماية الآثار. الهدف الرئيسي لهذا المكتب هو حماية المواقع والمعالم والمباني الأثرية، سواء كانت من الاعتداءات الطبيعية أو الاعتداءات البشرية. وليتم إنجاز مهام العمل بالصورة اللازمة يجب أن يكون لدينا قاعدة بيانات يتم العمل عليها. وساعد برنامج إيمينا على توفير قاعدة البيانات من خلال عمل المتدربين على المواقع والمباني والمعالم الأثرية في فلسطين. فلسطين غنية بالمواقع الأثرية، حيث بلغ عددها حوالي 55,000 مبنى تاريخي، بالإضافة إلى 7,000 مبنى ومعلم أثري. الصورة الموجودة عندنا هي عبارة عن عين ماء أثرية من الحالة الدراسية التي سأعرضها عليكم بعد قليل. إحدى المواقع الأثرية في فلسطين سيتم الحديث عن منطقة برك سليمان. برك سليمان هي موقع أثري يقع في بيت لحم، يحتوي على عدد من المكونات الأثرية، من ضمنها 3 برك لتجميع المياه، وهي تعود إلى العصر الروماني القرن الثاني قبل الميلاد، بالإضافة إلى قنوات المياه الموصلة للمياه إلى البرك، بالإضافة إلى عيون المياه الأثرية، وبالإضافة إلى وجود قلعة أثرية تسمى قلعة مراد الأثرية أنشئت، والهدف الرئيسي منها حماية عيون الماء والبرك الأثرية. برك سليمان هو عبارة عن نظام معماري فريد من نوعه لتجميع المياه، حيث تشكل شبكة كاملة من القنوات الفخارية والحجرية تحت الأرض لتوصيل المياه من أقصى الجنوب من بركة العروب في الخليل لغاية توصل المياه إلى برك سليمان ومن ثم إلى القدس الشريف. هاي الصورة البركة الثانية من برك سليمان الأثرية. طبعا يعود عصر بناء البركتين الأولى والثانية إلى العصر الروماني، وتم الاستدلال على ذلك من وجود إحدى النقوش الرومانية على إحدى القنوات الفخارية الموصلة للمياه. البركة الثالثة تم بناؤها في عهد السلطان سليمان القانوني أثناء ترميم البركتين الأولى والثانية. الآن سأتحدث عن برنامج تطبيق إيمينا ما بين التدريب والتطبيق. في البداية يعني أذكر ملاحظة هيك صغيرة جدا. بداية التدريب مع مستر بيجان، لما شفنا الخرائط، إنه أنا كأثرية كيف بدي أتعامل مع خرائط، فصفى إنه عندنا سهولة في قراءة الخرائط. كنا نجد إنه صعوبة أنا كيف بدي أعرف أو أحدد الموقع من خلال الخارطة. ساعدتنا قراءة الخرائط لمعرفة الخرائط، من تقييم الأضرار في الموقع، من تواريخ الضرر اللي تم على الموقع، متى حدث الضرر، من خلال جوجل إيرث، من خلال برنامج الخرائط الجوية. أول صفحة تم عمل فيها برنامج إيمينا اللي هي بتشكل المصدر الرئيسي اللي هي مصدر التراث الثقافي. بنسجل اسم التراث الثقافي فيها. تم تحديد الموقع. هون أنا محددة برك سليمان، 3 برك الرئيسية، تحديد كامل الموقع الأثري ما بين الموقع الأثري وحدود الموقع الأثري ومكوناته كاملة، مع الإحداثيات اللي له اللي تديود واللي تديود. شكرا. Yes. أها خلاص أشوفه.
Okay. Thank you, Tilaba.
هلا كان التركيز الرئيسي لتقييم الحالة موقع برك سليمان بالنسبة للأضرار اللي تمت فيها، اللي كان تجفيف البرك في 1994. الآن برك زي ما احنا شايفين يوجد بها المياه. من الأضرار اللي أثرت في الموقع كان لأسباب أمنية تجفيف هاي البرك ولأسباب السلامة العامة. هنا سوري هون في هاي الصورة بنلاحظ تجفيف البرك أثر على البركة الثالثة بالذات، مما احتاج إلى أنه أدى إلى انهيار الجدار الغربي للبركة الثالثة، وكان السبب الرئيسي أنه تم تجفيف هذه البرك. من الأخطار الرئيسية اللي بتهدد الموقع، أول إشي اللي نلاحظ أنه بداية التوسع العمراني قريب من الموقع الأثري، بالإضافة إلى امتداد المستوطنة إفرات موجودة هنا، امتداد وتأثيرها على الموقع والهجوم المستمر على موقع برك سليمان. من موقع برك سليمان في الجهة الشمالية الجنوبية يوجد في خربة الخوخ، موقع يعرض باستمرار إلى السرقات الأثرية وإلى التنبيش من قبل لصوص الآثار بشكل مستمر. أول خطوة تم التعامل معها هو تحديد الموقع بأرقامه على الخريطة، بالإضافة إلى الأسماء الموجودة فيها، بالإضافة إلى وين موقعه بالضبط، إضافة إلى حدوده. بعد ما سجلنا كافة الموقع، تم تسجيل المعالم الأثرية الموجودة فيه، سواء كانت ظاهرة على سطح الأرض أو في باطن سطح الأرض. كونه موقع برك سليمان يوجد بعض المظاهر مثل البرك، القلعة على سطح الأرض، لكن جميع القنوات الفخارية والحجرية تم بناؤها تحت الأرض. برضو تم تحديد العصور التي يحتويها موقع برك سليمان من العصر الروماني والمملوكي والإسلامي المتأخر، حتى تسلسل حضاري. تعمل تقييم حالة للموقع، تم تقييم الموقع، تم عمل حالة تقييم لأضرار الموقع. تلاحظ عدة أضرار تتم في الموقع، منها من خلال الصور الجوية تم معرفة أنه السبب الضرر اللي على الجدران البرك كان بسبب تجفيف المياه، مما أدى إلى تصدع وانهيار الجدران، بالإضافة إلى الزراعة، بالإضافة إلى التوسع العمراني الغير منتظم، بالإضافة إلى التنبيش الغير مشروع عن الآثار اللي تؤدي إلى عمل حفريات وتخريب في القنوات الفخارية والحجرية. نفس الشيء كامل. وبرضه هاي الصفحة بتحدد العناصر اللي بيحتويها موقع برك سليمان، كل عنصر وكل مكون موجود فيه. هلا كان لاستخدام برنامج إيمينا أثر على المواقع الفلسطينية، بداية مثل تطوير قاعدة البيانات للمواقع والمعالم الأثرية. كونه لدينا أصبح مسح للمواقع الأثرية، يوجد قاعدة كاملة للبيانات تشمل جميع المعلومات التي يحتاجها الموقع. إعداد قائمة ببيانات المباني التراثية التي دخلت في حيز الحماية ضمن القانون، كونه تم إصدار قانون الآثار، قرار بقانون 2018 شمل كل مبنى تاريخه 1917 مبنى محمي وفق القانون. وبذلك برنامج إيمينا ساعدنا بعمل رصد للمباني وبالأخص المباني التراثية ضمن برنامج إيمينا. تنشيط العمل الأثري والسياحي في فلسطين وتحديث قواعد البيانات بجهد وحماية وتصنيف المواقع الأثرية، بالإضافة إلى تسهيل البحث الأثري وعملية التخطيط الاستراتيجي. الحفاظ على مواقع التراث الثقافي. أثر برنامج إيمينا على المتدربين: امتلكنا القدرة على قراءة الخرائط الجوية، تحديد المواقع من خلال استخدام الإحداثيات، القدرة على تقييم المواقع وتقييم الأضرار التي تحدث على الموقع، القدرة أيضاً على تفسير المواقع، إضافة على القدرة على حماية المواقع. وشكراً لكم.
Thank you very much, Iman, for that excellent presentation. Our next speaker in this session, and the final real-life speaker before we move on to a Skype session, is Mohammed Atoum, who is head of the technical session at the Department of Antiquities in the Jerash Directorate in Jordan. And his talk will focus on the Jerash area involving a condition assessment of sites affected by, again, human and natural factors. And I understand he will be speaking in English. Over to you. Thank you.
I'll do it. It's okay. Yeah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good afternoon. My topic about condition assessment of archaeological site disturbed by natural and human factors through field work and other sources, Jerash area. The study included condition assessment of 100 sites that disturbed in the city of Jerash and the surrounding area. These disturbances were caused by natural factors such as tree growth, vegetation, and erosion. On the other hand, human factors as a result of human activities of cultivation, grazing, occupation, and looting. Those sites were pointed out on maps and satellite imagery and showed their boundaries and topography of area of each site and documented on IMENA database. The study include context ranged from urban to agricultural land, and archaeological context include site dates and cultural context and site function, etc. The topography of the area varied between valleys and hills and mountains and some small plains at the north of Jerash. The site disturbances shows the condition state and the disturbance assessment and type, cause and effect. And also the threats shows cause and effects. All that data registered in IMENA database. I will present examples illustrate the disturbances of these archaeological and heritage sites. This is aerial photo for Jerash archaeological site here. Jerash archaeological site and city of Jerash. The Roman city was both of them. It cut by the valley. Both parts cut by the valley. This is part, they called it Acropolis, still preserved, and the Neopolis in the other side. On the other side, the Neopolis under the modern buildings, and the defense wall here. The defense wall here is still standing, shows the border of Roman city. Here are archaeological satellite imagery for archaeological site, and we will give example about the disturbance, the site disturbance of archaeological site, development, infrastructure, archaeological and tourism or visitor activities, and natural. Here in the Artemis symbol is exposed the cracks here in the wall of Artemis symbol and also in the column. As a result, it's exposed to cracks and chipping as a result of erosion. It's a natural factor. Other place, it's a mosaic floor from churches. This mosaic floor fixed by natural factors of vegetation. Yeah, I can use it. Yeah, from here. Okay. The natural factors here, it's clear in vegetation, and also the human factors, it's the tourism and visitor activities. This, and also archaeological disturbance. This is excavated and not protect, and there is no maintenance for this mosaic floor. Also, another part from archaeological side. This is the northwest of Roman defensive wall. This part of defensive wall and tower, this excavated in 2015 when they expanded the street, and then they paved the street over the remains of defensive wall and tower. Another example. This is East Roman bath. It's not far away from the site. Yeah, it's at the other side of the valley. This site disturbed by development and transportation and infrastructure, and also by commercial and natural plans. This site was a bus station in the past. Then it converted by municipality through the third tourism project to be a park and parking. Here, the parking, it's clear, and it's now they paved it by a new limestone slab to be a park. In the recent year, several commercial buildings were built on the land which was a part of the Eastern Path. This is wall belong to the Eastern Path from the east side of Eastern Path. Here, the tombs imperial area. It was the main burial area in the Roman period. Located to the west of archaeological site, this archaeological site, and it's located to the west of archaeological site. The satellite imagery here from 2014 and the other image from 2017. And it shows the housing, and the spirit of the housing is still increasing here. And we have also old photo from Abami and a new photo from Abami, aerial photo for the same area. Shows the housing and the spirit of the houses, which is still increasing. Oh. Aye. The old market. This market, the old market. This market built at the end of the first half of the last century. And the building materials which use the building materials limestones brought from archaeological site were used in the construction of this market. If you see here, this is part of entablature, the down part, the architrave and part of the frieze. What? Okay. And this, the old market, it's private property, primarily from the back area, from here and from here, and replaced by shops here, and replaced by houses in this area. الشواهد Roman quarries and tombs. This area where these lands were reclaimed in the past and in addition to some areas became a residential area here and a residential area here, and the roads were opened and paved. Alumina site. This is a site owned by Department of Antiquities, and in the end of the last century, at the end of the 19th of, yeah, they own this land, and it contains architectural remains, and also it contains 2 caves. This site reused for housing, and also it reused for agriculture and dumping. And it looted. Other site, the Sofsafa archaeological site, it registered by Mega Jordan based on Mittman surveys in 1970, and unfortunately this site disappeared by agricultural reclamation. If you see this photo, this is a new photo. It was in 2016. We made a survey for these sites. Al-Birkutian, an entertainment Roman site. This site composed of a large pool and a small theater and bath and burial tombs. This site is saved by natural factors, tree growth, and also vegetation, and also it's disturbed by development. They invested this site to be a restaurant, so that they built this compound. Also, the roads were open and paved, and also this is a site affected by sabotage. This is a photo for Roman bath when excavated in 2006, and this is a new photo showing the sabotage of this site, and also the burial tombs. It's excavated in 2007, and we see the disturbance of the natural disturbance of vegetation and some small trees here. These 2 sites, Ibta site and Ibta site. This is Ibta site and Wadi Adir tomb. Both sites were looted, but in Ibta site we can identify the looting through satellite imagery. Here, a bit of looting. but in Wadi Adirtum, we can, the looting is indistinguishable because the tomb is located under the ground. The data of this study obtained by direct and indirect means. Direct means include field work and practical applications like survey and point out the sites on map. On the other hand, indirect means include Mega Jordan, satellite imagery, aerial photos, etc. All these data documented on Emina database, which used as a tool for analysis. Here we have the chart. The chart shows the most influential disturbance type on archaeological sites, and the agricultural disturbance is the most common according to the nature of agricultural area, then looting, then domestic as a result of occupation and reuse. The least disturbance here affects on archaeological sites is tourism and visitor activities, because the tourists visiting one site, which is the archaeological site of Jerash. The study concluded several results and recommendations. Condition assessment of heritage sites and record disturbances are considered as a diagnosis in order to find solution to maintain these sites. Emina database is one of the tools for documentation and monitoring. Types of disturbances varied according to different variables, such as natural context, topography, archaeological features, location, etc. Natural disturbances takes longer time to change the site feature more than man-made disturbances. Agricultural activities have been recorded as influential disturbance on archaeological sites, but these activities contributed to preserve these sites from great disturbances like development and creep of tenements. And the best example of it, Jerash archaeological site, we have two parts, one affected by creep of tenement and the other well preserved by agricultural disturbance. A study of documentation should be followed by field work for maintenance and protection of these heritage sites. Awareness campaigns are often not enough to reduce the threats on sites in the future, and therefore the local community must be involved in sustainable development work, maintenance and restoration work. Here, an example of awareness and involvement of the community, the Great Olive Press. The site excavated before 20 years ago and not backfilled, owned by a farmer retired from army, but he is interested in archaeology and has activities with archaeological associations, so that press is still in good conditions because he take care about it. On the other hand, we've seen several archaeological sites in poor condition, and some of them have been vandalized. We have two projects in 2018, both of them maintenance project. We start to the process of restoration of the archaeological site. Here we share the work with the French and also with the Italian. The projects funded by the Department of Antiquities, and the other project funded by USAID under the Sustainable Development Work. And here we see monuments like here, like the Saint Cosmos and Damian's Church. Here we made some maintenance, and we use the natural materials of lime, and we move the cement and replace it by lime. Here the remains of cement, which was used for restoration process. And we replace it by lime in this area, and also in the church of Bishop Ash'ia. And also we have a restoration work here for Crybetukis, which is part of Zeus temple, and now the Crybetukis is used as a museum. And this is also we do some maintenance work for the aqueduct in the archaeological site. Thank you.
Thank you very much for another excellent talk. I believe the Skype presentation we have is not scheduled until, is it now? Oh, it is now. Okay. I thought it was another few minutes. Okay, so we will first have the Skype presentation, and then we will move on to the discussion afterwards. So I'll hand over to Chiamoko to set that up. Thank you. And I guess whilst it's being set up, I can start. Whilst Chiamoko is setting up, I guess I can introduce our next speaker, who is Anna Paulina from UNESCO, who will be presenting, I presume in English, on her project, on a project in Yemen that focuses on the restoration of built heritage through youth employment in 3 World Heritage cities and Aden, the site of Aden. So a very exciting project that I look forward to hearing all about. Hello, is this Anna Paulini? Hello, Anna. We just introduced you to the audience here in Sharjah, and we look forward to your talk. Welcome to the P2P conference. Put the video. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can now see your first slides. That is perfect. Excellent. Yes. Okay, I'll hand over to you, and yeah, look forward to it. Oh.
Excellent.
Okay, one moment. We will close the small window because there's something in the way. Yes. Okay, now we're completely ready. Over to you, Anna.
Okay. So first of all, good afternoon to everybody. I mean, to all the distinguished experts and the friends. I'm really sorry that I cannot be there with you in person. I think you know that there's been a delay, cancellation of a flight that I was supposed to take from Paris to the UAE. And as I was staying just for 1 day to the UAE, I moved back to Doha, so to travel again tomorrow to Kuwait. Nevertheless, I'm able that this technology is helping us, for me to be there with you and to present a little bit the challenges that we are having in Yemen and what, as UNESCO, we are also doing. I understand I have, tell me how many minutes, so I will be able to calibrate the presentation.
20.
10 minutes, 20 minutes?
20.
20 minutes, excellent. Excellent. Sorry, I have a problem in moving the... Okay. So just to give you a little bit the context of Yemen. I mean, I think you are following the news, and it has been named by the United Nations as the world's largest humanitarian crisis. It doesn't make a lot the headline news for political reasons, as we know. Nevertheless, the situation is really dramatic. So, of course, the humanitarian situation is a priority for the United Nations, and you probably know that tomorrow, and we just had the confirmation, the peace talks are starting in Uppsala and will take place until the 14th, and we really hope that during this period, well, also UNESCO will be present there, but not for the culture part, but for the media part, because we will work on a Yemeni newsroom to report information in Yemen and beyond on the peace talks in Uppsala. We really hope that the situation will improve and we will have good news out of it. So humanitarian situation is the priority for the United Nations on the ground, but also the livelihood and the well-being, of course, of children and women and adults, that goes, beyond just providing humanitarian assistance. And I will show you later how they are tackling this subject using cultural heritage as a means to alleviate, especially youth, and improve their condition and their families as well, and improve their livelihood. But as you know, cultural heritage has not been spared during the conflict. Especially, I would say, during the first part of the conflict, a lot of sites, and you see them, these are the most known, have been hit and damaged. Sometimes we can say they are collateral damages, although I personally don't like this term, because one, I think, is damage, I mean, is never collateral. And some, like the Damar Museum, has really been smashed on purpose. And the old city of Sada, this is the old picture, but the situation now is even worse than what you can see. We have seen, though, that there has been a diminishing of damages to cultural heritage since the beginning of the war. And I could say that this is also thanks to a lot of negotiation that we have made through our colleague of OCHA based in Riyadh, with the coalition authorities. So to argue and to make sure that the list of 50 sites, which are not only the World Heritage and the tentative list, the sites in the World Heritage, but other archaeological sites of importance, are not touched. And we have seen that, in fact, there has been a trend with less damages. We're keeping up this and regularly contact them, just that they don't forget that heritage is also there. And as you can see, and probably you know, I could say that every little village in Yemen is cultural heritage for its peculiarity in vernacular architecture, and also because of the geographical location of Yemen, which is very secluded from either neighboring countries. I mean, geographically and physically, because of mountains and in the north, the desert. So the architecture really developed in a different way than in other parts of the peninsula, with a lot of influence on the coast from Asia and from the coast of Africa. But every single village there is really cultural heritage. So that's why we think that cultural heritage should be in the agenda of the United Nations. Nevertheless, when you have a conflict, you can have some ethical questions that I think all of us as an experts and in the field and as cultural heritage practitioner are asking ourselves. Is it in present circumstances, not only in Yemen, but in general where conflict are? Is it right to talk about conservation of heritage? When we have to talk about this, for whom are we talking about this? Which kind of heritage are we talking? Is monument, is archaeological sites, it's housing, like in the case of Yemen, where every single village is heritage, is documentary heritage, is archival heritage. And then again, are we pushing for the saving because we have a Western perspective, or is something that the local community is asking us to do? And at the end, who is benefiting from all that? And you know, we have a lot of constraints also, because the World Heritage Convention for the site inscribed has a lot of, you know, I would say, constraints for the maintenance of the site that sometimes in case of conflict, like in the case of Yemen, is very difficult. You know, now, for example, we are talking about the monitoring mission for Socotra, where the World Heritage Committee has approved, but you know, the situation is almost impossible to reach the island. And especially for UN staff, that we have some security, how can I say, rules to apply and to make sure to obey is difficult. Yet, you know, the committee push, but there's no flexibility in looking in different ways where we can report. No, we can report only going ourselves on the mission. So I think there are some constraints that the World Heritage Convention has when we talk about heritage in conflict. So, and also we see more and more, especially with Syria and with Iraq, as heritage is being kidnapped for political reasons, and how culture is being manipulated and cultural heritage is being manipulated as a political element. So these are all questions that I think are very pertinent, and that in our brainstorming also at the office and with the experts on Yemen, we are trying to give answers. Of course, it's the answer based on the situation of the country. You cannot have a general things, but I think it's very important for us to work within a system. Because of the case of Yemen, where the political attention is very low, the media attention is very low, the humanitarian crisis is a disaster, the implication of donors is very limited, especially the traditional donors. You know, there are no embassies there are no institutes, you know, foreign institute for archaeology or other over there. So we have to work to make sure that culture remain on the agenda, but within the mechanism that the United Nations are putting at our disposal. And here I mentioned some of them because we are reporting, for example, we believe that if there is a direct targeting of destruction of cultural heritage, this has to be reported through the human rights mechanism for reporting. There are two panel of experts that has been established in following resolutions that investigate and report on situation of infraction of human rights, and including targeting and damaging of cultural heritage. This is very, very important for us, because heritage can have a leverage at the highest level, and we can report to the Security Council, and we can have some leverage with the parties in the conflict. The office of the Special Envoy for Yemen, we had discussion to include as heritage preservation as one of the topics for negotiation and building, confidence building between the parties. It's not going to happen this time because the peace talks are happening tomorrow, and this is happened very quickly, but it's still on the agenda for the future, because also at political level they realize, yes, the target of cultural heritage for political reasons, but culture can be also an element of confidence building between the parties in the conflict, and that's what we are pushing for it. So these are the World Heritage Sites in Yemen. I don't have to repeat. I think that you know, there are also 10 properties on the tentative list. Some of them, you know, touched by the armed conflict, whether by air or on the ground. And in 2015, we had launched, as soon as the war started, an action plan. And I can say that this action plan is 3 years old. I just had the green light to have another meeting. We were supposed to have a second meeting at the beginning of 2017. It didn't work out, again, for political reasons. Now I have the green light to go ahead for a new expert meeting to take stock of what we as UNESCO, but also the international community, has tried to do in the field of the preservation of cultural heritage. The pillars of the action plan were awareness raising, knowledge building, and technical assistance. So we have done a series of activities. This is a little bit more in the past. Probably you went through these activities under the Unite for Heritage campaign, the Museum Unite for Heritage, a special campaign involving 10 important museums to portray the positive value that Yemen heritage has, and that it's very little known by the international community. So sometimes they say, why do we have to care about Yemen? What is Yemen about? So people, you know, I think one of the things that we have to do through what all as a collective community of practitioners are doing is also to look and how can I say, really work on the value and give positive message about the heritage, not only talk about the destruction, but seeing how much value and what can bring to the international community, you know, the heritage of Yemen. So this is about the Heritage Week that we did. It was back in 2016. We are discussing to doing something similar on natural heritage for Socotra, for example, that is extremely important. So it really raised the attention, but we should have kept it, you know, continuing. You know, one event is not enough. I think to raise the awareness, the international community, this should go on and on. Another thing was this damage assessment. I mean, probably you know that we had done this very simple mobile application for the rapid assessment. I'm happy to say that after training of our Yemeni counterparts, of Gofsi and Goam, also with the assistance of Ikram Atar, it's being used. It's being used especially for collections, but it's being used now also for the assessment of 4 major cities, and I will come back later explaining about that. So we developed first assessment form, and this assessment form were translated into this mobile application that works offline, since there's not much coverage in Yemen. And I'm happy to say that now also in the new project that we are engaged in, the Social Development Fund, that is one of our partners together with the General Organization for Museum and the General Organization for Historic Cities, are using them. So one of the results, for example, of using these forms was retrieving the objects that were left, or part of the object that were left on the smashing of the Damar Museum. So we used the mobile application to do the fast recording, and we did also the same thing in some other sites. Now, what are we doing at the moment is trying to put online the Observatory of Yemen Cultural Heritage, which is completed but not yet online, or at least one part online for expert use, or to upload also their information, or to link the information to it. But this is coming up, I think, in 5 days. My colleague is telling me, let's say in 2 weeks, I can say this will be available. We have also worked closely with the colleague of UNOSAT, that I understand Manuel is there, to do this assessment of whenever the major site was hit, to try to understand what the damage is, why, where they were coming from, and document what has happened through the use of satellite images. And of course, with Yamina, I mean, I think they will go more in detail on what I can say. They build up this Yemen Heritage Management Platform, which is quite advanced, that is looking at identifying new archaeological sites through and buildings through the lecture of satellite images, but at the same time also report on the condition assessment of sites that are already being identified. This in full agreement with the team of experts for Yemen, so the different archaeological missions, and the general organization for antiquities and museum. And it is very important to say here that all this work that Yamina is doing with, let's say, our strong support backing, on this tool, is to have a tool for recording, but also to be used as a management tool for the reconstruction, especially when there will be infrastructure reconstruction in the future. And it's very important to say that this will be done for our Yemeni colleagues. And in fact, Yamina has already aligned a series of training with them. We already did some preliminary one in Amman, and some other are gonna come next year, and we are trying to scale it up and contribute to it as we move ahead. So this is some other technical assistance that we provided with Athar. We provided in 2015 the first training workshop on the safeguarding of heritage. We have provided technical assistance for the reconstruction of the Al-Kazimi area, that is the first one that has been completely bombed and destroyed inside the city of Sana'a. We have worked with the 3D scanning for cultural heritage, and in particular with the city of Sana'a. And of course, we work also a bit on ethic of collectives of more for movable heritage, and especially to work with collectors in the Gulf. We have done the first brainstorming. We're going to do a second one within June, getting together all the major collectors in the Gulf, so to advise them on not to collect artifacts from Yemen and countries in conflict in the region if the provenance is not clear. So to try to cut the circles of artifacts within at the source. So from the part that are actually instigating and starting the process, which are the buyers and the end users of the cultural good. So this is a few things. Of course, there are a lot of challenges. Here you see just a few pictures about Sana'a. In this void, let's say, of governance in the country, where the local institution, and now you have double local institution because you have the one in the north and the one in the south, and they don't talk to each other. And when they don't have the capacity also to survey and to assess all the time, because simply their staff is not paid, has not been paid for the past 2 years. So a lot of these people are going on voluntary basis, or they get money for different projects and so on. So in this void of governance, of course, a lot of construction using modern material is taking place, in particular in historic centers. And there is very little that you can do when this is happening on private property, and where the authorities have not the power neither to control, not to enforce legislation. So this is also a risk because, of course, it goes into the legal constructions and also brings in the long term, as this continues, a loss of traditional knowledge. Now, what are we going to do in concrete terms? I think for us, the entry point, as you see, the all United Nations are working for humanitarian. So whatever UNESCO does is not fit into the humanitarian. But we have one entry point within the work of the UN country team, because all the project has to go and fit into an exercise that is called project criticality exercise, where the UN is evaluating if this project is contributing to the overall goal of the UN to support livelihood and to prevent poverty. So we said, okay, what we're gonna target is actually, we're gonna target youth, and we are target communities to provide them first livelihood, and the final end result is the conservation and restoration of heritage. But the first target is not the heritage per se, are the people. So we are providing livelihood for people, so it means money and incentive for people to work and continue and being trained on this work to restore. So I think this is a win-win situation, and probably a new way of looking at culture that also UNESCO never did before. And in fact, my colleague in Iraq and also Jordan and Lebanon are looking at this way or tackling cultural heritage. And when we talk about cultural heritage, we're not talking about monuments, and we're not talking about archaeological sites. We are talking about living heritage, mainly housing and historical centers. So we have two projects. Both of them are sponsored by the EU. This one, the first one, is a small, what we call a smaller project, and the activities that will be completed by February is mainly to building the base for the largest project to be implemented, and has to do with mainly damage assessment of the 4 cities where we will work: Shibam, Tabid, Aden, and Sana'a. We're looking at preparing rehabilitation plans, looking at infrastructures as well, small infrastructure linked to housing, and linked to the urban space, also the public spaces like the bustans and like paving, for example. And it has also a component on damage assessment of the National Museum in Sana'a and implementation of some urgent rehabilitation work over there. Based on this one, we signed a 10 million euros project at the end of July, always with the EU, that again look at livelihood of youth. And if you look from the title, you know, it's cash for work, so it means providing means for youth and their family to support themselves, but engaging them in the reconstruction, restoration, rehabilitation, cleaning of housing and urban heritage in the 4 cities. So this will have a strong involvement of the civil society. So, and will be the largest part of the project. It will be this cash for work scheme, but we will have also a scheme of small grants that we will give out to small NGOs to do punctual projects in areas of these 4 cities and other areas that will be linked to the rehabilitation of heritage. It could be a well here, it could be some water management, it could be some small infrastructure, it can be repairing the windows or the roof and so on. So it will have these 2 main components: youth livelihood and small grants. Also for creative industries, and which is mainly handicraft and art and so on, where women usually are more involved. Again, it will be a lot of skill developments through job training of these youth. A lot has already been trained through projects that were managed by GIZ rather than by the Italians and by the French, but we want to expand this pool of youth and maintain this knowledge and craftsmanship that will be used for the reconstruction and recovery later on. So this will be just the first pilot project. I should say that it has taken the attention of the EU, and I'm very happy that actually they listen to us, and we could find a mechanism to work with, also because they don't sponsor direct reconstruction of monuments, and we also are convinced that it's not where we have to start from, at least in the case of Yemen. So the project, of course, will establish an office. I mean, we are just in negotiation of office space. It will have local and international personnel, both in Doha and in Sana'a. It will create opportunities for youth. At the same time, restore heritage, increase awareness. There will be a good component of awareness raising inside the country and outside the country. And so we are hope also to engage some other donors to look at other areas that are more rural areas, heritage in rural areas that just instead of heritage in urban areas. It will generate 500,000 working days in the payroll of youth. And again, it will benefit people and small businesses and small enterprises. If you think about restoration of cultural heritage in Yemen, it's all done with traditional material. So it will not only benefit the youth and the families, but also, you know, the small entrepreneur that will provide this material locally. And given the blockade on the countries and the impossibility to import in the countries anything, I would say, you know the situation of Hodeida port and so on. I mean, it will be a self-sustained project within Yemen without any import from the outside. So I think that's what I wanted to say, and I wanted to thank you for this opportunity. I hope you could hear me well and also see the presentation, and I thank you very much, Yamina, for these opportunities. I value very much the partnership that we have with them, and I value very much the partnership that we have had for many, many years with Ikram Atar, that is our strong ally, you know, for what concerns on capacity building in Yemen and beyond Yemen. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna. That was a very interesting project. Are you happy to answer a few questions, or are you having to leave us?
No, it's okay.
Okay, what I propose to do then is that if the floor has any questions for Anna Paulini to deal with this first, for the first 5 minutes, and then the final few minutes of the discussion we can invite Iman and Mohammed and Hela to the table to finish the discussion. But any questions for Anna Paulini first, please? Does anyone want to ask any questions? Okay. We could hear you very loud and clear. I hope you can hear us very loud and clear as well. But here's the first.
Hi, Anna. It's Michael here. Yeah, I've got a question. What's the role of the Antiquities Service of Yemen in this project of yours?
Sorry, I couldn't hear it very well, Michael. So maybe if someone else can repeat, be closer to the mic, maybe.
What is the role of the Antiquities Service of Yemen in your project?
What is the role of the Antiquities Service of Yemen in your projects?
Yes, I mean, in Yemen, there are two general organizations. One is GOAM, is for Antiquities and Museum, and the other one is for historic cities. So, of course, they are the first beneficiary and partners, I would say, to the project, because of the complication of managing a project inside Yemen, and because, you know, these two general organizations are based in Sana'a, which is in the north. And you know very well that now the north, not under the government of Yemen, but is under the Houthi, you know, authorities, let's say. Yet we still work with them because we work very much at the technical level. And also the other UN work, they are based in Sana'a, so they work with the authorities that are there as well as with the government of Yemen. But we cannot work directly because simply for technical reasons we can't even establish contracts with them because they have no bank account anymore because the Bank of Yemen has been moved from Sana'a to Aden. So we work through what is called the Social Fund for Development. It is a fund that has been established, I would say, already 15 years ago. One of the pillars of the fund is also looking after cultural heritage. It covers the north and the south, and they have offices. So what we're going to do is, through them, they engage the two general organizations. In this case, not archaeologists, but the museum. Whenever we have a museum that is damaged in the 4 cities, that will be our partners. Wherever there is urban, GovCity, the other organization has to be there. So the 3 mainly have to work very close together. We build the assessment together with the 3 of them, and we will implement together to the 3 of them. But for us, the only entry point will be the Social Development Fund. But I would say we are almost every day in contact, and we have already 1 person on the ground, local, that worked for us in Yemen since the beginning of the year.
So will you be creating a separate antiquities department?
Will you be creating a separate antiquities department?
No. Whatever is there is already enough to cover everything what we need. Because through the Social Development Fund, they will engage with the two authorities. No, there is no, and actually, these 2 authorities, at least the one for historic cities, were established by UNESCO upon recommendation of UNESCO after the safeguarding campaign for the city of Sana'a that was launched in the 80s. So in the 90s, we suggested them to establish this organization for historic cities. And since then, we have worked with them very closely. And even though now they are sitting in Sana'a and they are under, let's say, the authority of the Houthis, we still work with them.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more question before, unfortunately, we have to move on to the next set of discussion. Anyone else? One more question? No? Okay, in that case, thank you so much for joining us from afar, and thank you so much for your presentation. It's been very interesting to hear about it, and hopefully next time you can be here in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you also for having on YouTube the overall conference, so I can take advantage and see you from far. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Bye-bye to everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And now, is this working? Is this working? What do I do?
You mute.
I muted it. Okay. And now to finish today, can I please invite Hela and Iman and Mohammed Abtoum to come and join me here for the final discussion on the presentations from the EMINA training program that we heard all about before the Skype presentation from Anna Paolini. I thought it was very interesting personally. You are the wrong person. Can we swap? Before we create confusion. I thought personally it was very interesting to see the very varied applications of the EMINA database that you applied in your own work. But it's not really my place to start asking questions. So can I ask if anyone else has any questions or comments they would like to ask our 3 speakers? Question over there. Does anyone have a microphone for... lady over there with the black jacket.
Thank you. So from the Cultural Protection Fund, we'd just like to say thank you to the EMINA trainees. Your presentations were excellent, and it's really fantastic to see the impact that the trainings are having on the way that you document and manage the heritage sites within your departments. And I was just wondering if you could tell us if you feel that the new tools that you're using will be sustained into the future, so that new staff and other current staff will continue to use them into the future.
Who of you 3 would like to start answering this question? Okay.
Thank you. هلا الأدوات الجديدة اللي تم استخدامها
One moment. She has to.
اوكي. الأدوات الجديدة اللي تم استخدامها اللي هي قراءة الخرائط الجوية واستخدام أجهزة الماسح الGPS. تم تدريب طواقم العمل في فلسطين للتدرب على قراءة الخرائط الجوية وعلى استخدام أجهزة المسح، والاستدامة الدائمة في هذا البرنامج يتم العمل عليه، وذلك من خلال أنه كان في عبارة عن 100 موقع لكل متدرب أن يدخل بجميع بياناته من الموقع، من تقييم الحالة، من مكونات الموقع، من إحداثيات الموقع، من حدود الموقع. فمن خلال 100 موقع تلقائيا صار استدامة للعمل لإضافة العديد من المواقع كل حسب المنطقة المحدد فيها. شكرا.
بالنسبة لسؤالها عن إذا كنا مش نستمر في استعمال هذه التقنيات، نقولها طبعا على خاطر دمج التقنيات الحديثة في التوثيق والمحافظة على التراث. وقت تستعمل هذه التقنيات تلقى روحك ما عادش نجم تستغنى عليها، معناتها اوتوماتيكلي انت باش تقعد تخدم بنفس النسق هذاك على طول. وإذا كانت فما تقنيات أخرى زاد مرحبا.
Excellent, thank you.
Zaki also had a question or a comment, I think. Michael has the microphone.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Iman, and thank you, Hala, for your presentations. It's very promising that you could continue what you have started so far. I think it has a lot of potential. My question is more to Iman, because you showed in one of the slides the legislation, the new legislation, the new Palestinian legislation about the protection and designation of monuments. And I noticed that there is the, is it like 100 years old? The legislation referred to 1917, or is it like the 100 years old building first? That part of the question. Then I wanted to really ask you about His Highness this morning talked about the destruction of some houses in Ramallah, and I was wondering if these were covered under this legislation, because I mean the aim of your work is also the protection eventually, as the title of this conference also suggests, and I really want to see how that is reflected also in the legal measures that you have.
شكرا سيد زكي. بالنسبة للشق الأول اللي حسب قانون القرار بقانون الآثار 2018 الجديد، تم تحديد 1917 كمبنى تراثي أو معلم تراثي يجب الحفاظ عليه، لكن ممكن يكون المبنى عمره 1930 لكن يحمل صفات استثنائية مثل جمالية، إنشائية، زخرفية، فيجب الحفاظ عليها حسب كل حالة يتم التعامل معها. مثلا مدينة بيت لحم تم عمل نظام مسح للمباني التراثية داخل حدود البلدة القديمة ومباني تراثية منفردة خارج حدود البلدة القديمة. جميع هذه المباني يتم التعامل معها وفق النظام، والآن في صدد أنه عمل جرد لكافة المباني إن شاء الله. في بيت جالة تم الانتهاء منه، إن شاء الله في بيت سحور تقريبا بلشنا في العمل على مشروع المباني التراثية. في رام الله تم برضو الإنهاء، في عندهم نظام دليل للعمل في المباني التراثية لحمايتها، وتم المصادقة عليه بقرار مجلس وزراء نظام حماية المباني التراثية في مدينة بيت لحم. أما بالنسبة للشق الثاني اللي هو المباني المحمية، طبعا أي مبنى محمي ممنوع التدخل فيه تدخلات سلبية. كدائرة أثار وحماية يجب حماية هذا المبنى. ممكن بعض الأشخاص سواء المالكين الشخصيين أو سواء الاعتداءات من الاحتلال بتؤدي إلى هدم المباني. كون دائرة حماية يجب حماية هذه المباني بمنعها، وفي ظل القانون الجديد أصبحت الإجراءات لردع صارمة، فشكلت نوع من الوعي لدى المواطن في الحفاظ على المبنى التراثي اللي بتعود ملكيته له. كونه كانوا يعني قديما ثقافة الحفاظ أو ثقافة الحماية مش واردة، إنه تم بدي أوسع بيت، بدي أوسع غرفة، بدي أهد. هلأ في نوع من الوعي ومن الثقافة بتم لمسها في أرض الواقع في الحماية. تمام.
برا
واضحة
ملة
ولا
هلا.
أي شيء؟
لا أنا سؤالي أكثر على رام الله لأنه سمو الحاكم الصبح حكى شوي.
صحيح.
فشو ممكن ينعمل على المباني اللي عم تتهدم هلا في رام الله؟
كمباني أول شيء إحنا مداخلة سمو الحاكم أثلجت صدورنا جميعا، وإنه في ناس عم يعني الحمد لله شاعرين في القضية وشاعرين في الأذى اللي بيتم أو الواقع علينا بشكل عام. فإحنا بنحاول قدر الإمكان إنه نجيش الرأي الدولي لحماية المباني الدولية، نجيش الدعم، نجيب دعم لصيانة ترميم هاي المباني وإعادة بنائها، لأنه المبنى التراثي أقل شيء عائلة أو عائلتين أو 3 بتكون عايشة في هذا البيت. فيعني واضحة إن شاء الله. شكرا.
We have the same in Jordan about the heritage houses and the heritage places. We haven't any law to protect them. Just we have some regulations in by the Ministry of Tourism, and we haven't any responsibility according to the Department of Antiquities. But if they reuse any material from any material like limestones from archaeological sites with decoration, with archaeological features, we consider it's archaeology, not heritage. So that we have that. I think we have the same situation.
Did you want to add anything, or no? Okay. Bijan, you had a question. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, and our Libyan colleagues who are not here, but we followed their presentation. First of all, I'm very happy and I feel honored that you could present the result of your projects. And yeah, thank you very much for accepting our invitation coming here. I have a question for all of you. And if you decide to continue your documentation work on the ground, first, what are your priorities? And the second is, what type of support you need beside training to continue your work?
At first, you have to arrange that with our boss, with Department of Antiquities, to get the permit. Then we can decide. We need sometimes fund. We need also to check the sites in the field, to see the and to make some sounding for the sites which disappeared by any disturbance, especially the agricultural reclamation, and it needs some sound to see if the site is still the remains is still down or not. Because sometimes in agricultural they use just the upper layer, just about 17 centimeters of using to planting the crops or the trees. Yeah.
ممكن انه الدعم الرئيسي اللي بحاجه احنا انه اغلب المواقع الاثريه تقع في داخل حدود مناطق سي، وهي مناطق خاضعة للاحتلال الإسرائيلي، مما يشكل صعوبة لقراءتها من خلال الصور الجوية، كونها بتكون مناطق سوداء مغلقة. فنحن بحاجة إلى زيارة ميدانية لتقييم حالة الموقع، كونه ما في عندنا أي خلفية شو بيتم من تدمير وتأثير في المواقع. فهيك الزيارات الميدانية لأغلب المواقع، أغلب المواقع في مناطق سي، فبنضطر إلى الزيارة الميدانية، فبحاجة لتدعيم من خلال الخرائط والصور الجوية، تكون عندنا مثلا داتا كاملة. وكمتدربة اتدربت في برنامج إيمينا، احنا عملنا على تدريب الطواقم الشباب والصبايا الموجودة عندنا من خلال تجربتنا، يعني شو أي فرصة ممكن لتدريب طواقم أو لفتح مجالات. ممكن في البداية واجهنا إنه صعوبة إنه أنا مش راح أعرف أقرأ خارطة، لا بدها تكون لناس لتخصص خرائط. بالعكس طلعت قراءة الخرائط سهلة، معرفة الموقع سهل. مجرد ما إنه تم تعليمنا على قراءة الخارطة راح يصفي بشكل مستمر استمرارها لحفظ وقراءة الخرائط بشكل دائم.
أنا في نظري هو قبل التمويلات وقبل كل شيء هو تعميم هذه المعارف والتحكم في التكنولوجيا الحديثة للزملاء اللي يعملوا معنا، لأنه واحد وحده يتحكم في هذه التكنولوجيا مع فريق عمل كبير يكون الكاهل العمل أولا عليه برشا معناتها، وهذا أول شيء. والشيء الثاني هو الحقيقة هو وجوب الزيارة الميدانية والتحقق من بعض الأعمال اللي قلنا بها. مثلا أنا مهنتي كمحافظ تراث معناتها تسنت لي الفرصة وإني أنا قمت بالمعاينة لبعض النقاط اللي قمت بالمسح نتاعها. رؤيتي للميدان ما كانتش كيف رؤيتي بالأقمار الصناعية حتى لو كان بالصور المرجعية وكل، ولكن فما تفاصيل كيف أعمال الرطوبة مثلا ما نجموش نشوفوها من الأقمار الصناعية فقط. شكرا.
What I found, if I may add something as well, what I found interesting from your presentation as well, Hella, is that you actually combined the results of two training programs. That was rapid documentation as well as more detailed building recording. So I think that was a very good demonstration of using different training programs to work on heritage. So that was very, very good.
Otherwise, sometimes we need a permit to access to the database of Department of Antiquities. Now they will digitalize all the data, especially the old photos, drawing from the past. In Jerash, we will have a database for the work of Jerash from when it starts, from the end of the first of half of the last century. So I hope that anyone can access to the data to see the change and to control on these sites with the new satellite imagery. Yeah, it will be. I think it will be good, but it's need time and it need a discussion, permit, everything.
Does anyone have any more burning questions, or is this okay?
Hello, thank you for the presentations. Very interesting, very enriching. And I have two, actually it's two range questions. The first one is about the state of the art when you arrive at the beginning of the exercise, whether you made the inventory of the existing databases in terms of geography, the GIS databases that you had, and whether you checked the compatibilities between the different databases. I'm thinking about the example of Palestine where I worked, where there was a GIS made by the MOLG, Ministry of Local Governments, which doesn't match the Google Maps, or neither does it match the OpenStreetMap, which is a communitarian map, community open space, open source map. So basically this is a question about the compatibility between the different GIS bases and whether at the very beginning of the exercises you made whatever was necessary to share a common database. And this, for example, again in the case of Palestine, also relates to the 400 villages survey that was done by RIWAC and other places, things like that. And the second question I mentioned, OpenStreetMap as a reliable source, and whether you knew about it and whether you identified it in the project and in your own GIS. So that was it.
بداية المراحل اللي تمت بداية المراحل اللي تمت فيها جمع البيانات تم ترتيب المراحل حسب برنامج إيمينا. تحديد الموقع حسب ما تم قراءته من الخرائط. بالنسبة لفلسطين تم مسح جميع مواقع فلسطين عام 1929 من خلال المسح البريطاني لجميع مواقع فلسطين. فكانت عندنا عبارة عن قاعدة بيانات رئيسية تم الاعتماد عليها لمعرفة المواقع الأثرية. هلا من خلال عملنا كجولات ميدانية بتم اكتشاف مواقع غير مسجلة في الجريدة الرسمية، فهاي المواقع بتم تسجيلها وإسقاطها على المخططات الهيكلية لكل محافظة بمحافظتها كمواقع أثرية جديدة، وتم اعتبارها كموقع أثري يجب الحفاظ والحماية عليه من خلال تبادل المعلومات ما بين وزارة السياحة والأثار ما بين وزارة الحكم المحلي في فلسطين لتحديد المواقع الأثرية التي يجب الحفاظ وحمايتها. تقييم الحالة يتم من خلال قراءة الخارطة حسب السنين. مثلا قبل 10 سنين كان الموقع في حالة جيدة، في 2001 تم التعرض من خلال للسرقة، بتم معرفة من خلال قراءة الصورة الجوية، بالإضافة وتعزيزا لذلك من خلال الزيارة الميدانية للموقع الأثري. كونه ما بين الموائمة ما بين الخارطة وتطبيقها على أرض الواقع بتم تعزيز المعلومة وتأكيدها. واضح؟ كلير؟
Yes, so you checked on actually on the ground that the data that you collected on the field was matching with the original maps, which basically probably gave you some differences, because especially in Palestine there is an actual difference between the maps that were used, that traditionally used, which are different from the ones that you use with a mobile phone. If you use a GPS, it doesn't match with the maps that are used from the MOLC, for example. Yes. And so this is what the question about the compatibility and whether, I think in Palestine, basically, I mean, we work in Samoa in a project where we had the same issue, so that's why I'm very specific on the Palestinian case, but it's probably the case in other places. They're using a map which doesn't match the GPS, and this is the map that is circulated in the local governments. And they cannot use the GPS tools and the tablets and whatever without long work, a lot of work on the adjusting the maps. Yes, and in Jordan, it's I think you probably have issues with the Mega Jordan in terms of weight of the. I wanted to ask about the how do you manipulate with the tablets and the mobile phones the Arches software, which is quite heavy in terms of software.
We can use them, but sometimes you have to check the site in the field, because the satellite imagery, it's not clear, especially for the area which has planet cover. So you cannot define it if archaeological site or not through the satellite imagery. So you have to go to the field. Otherwise, we can use Mega Jordan, but sometimes the Mega Jordan, it depends on survey belong to the last century, like Mittman and Nelson Gluck. Nelson Gluck made a survey in 1939, and it's old, and most of the sites disappear. Why? Through these disturbances, it's disappear, and you have to check it through sounding or. And we have the Mega Jordan now. It's not work like before. It need to register it again and to make some survey for the site which register in Mega Jordan, especially which based on the ancient, the old survey like Nelson Gluck and Mittman. And just they recorded, and for the expedition, new expedition, it's good. Yeah, I think it's good, Mega Jordan, but for the old survey, no. And sometimes the coordinate is a mistake. Maybe they they pointed out the site here, but in the fact, actually in the field, you will find it. You find it maybe before or after 1 kilo, 500 meters, 100 meters. It depends. Sometimes it's not precisely. Yeah, especially the coordinate. So we cannot use it. Mostly we cannot use it, and some of the sites not registered. I register some sites on Imina database, not registered by anyone. Yeah, because I made survey in 2000 and 2002, and I made survey before 3 years ago.
This has been a fantastic discussion, but I'm afraid we're almost half an hour past our allotted time already, despite all the cancellations we had today. So I'm really sorry, but I think we have to draw to a close. Luckily, the session took place on the very first day, so for the next 2 days, there'll be plenty of opportunity during lunchtimes, during coffee breaks, to talk more and to exchange ideas and to discuss all these issues in more detail. But for now, I just wish to ask you all to join me in thanking our speakers and the organizers and the partners for a fantastic first day of this Protecting the Past conference in applause. And I wish you all a very pleasant evening. And just one last housekeeping announcement for those of you staying in the hotel. If I'm not mistaken, tomorrow the bus leaves at a slightly more acceptable hour of 8 o'clock to the conference venue. So, and I promise you this time I will not phone anyone out of bed like I did this morning, because the gates will not be closed for any visits of dignitaries. So have a pleasant evening and see you all tomorrow morning. Oh, hello everyone. Apparently the bus back to the hotel is ready already as well, so yalla.